All right, Psalm 98, let's call this one Seasons of Relief or Seasons of Salvation in this psalm that begins in verses 1 through 3. The familiar theme, once again saying, sing to the Lord a new song, this time for he has done marvelous things. His right hand, his holy arm has worked salvation. He's revealed his salvation and his righteousness, remembered his steadfast love and faithfulness, a theme that we saw last week. This time he's revealed his steadfast love and his faithfulness to Israel. But all the world has seen his salvation, as in verses 4 through 6. It's going to go on to talk about the ways in which we should make a joyful noise, or the psalmist is calling for those who appreciate the things that God has done, especially the way he has saved them from difficult times, to make a joyful noise, sing a joyous or a joyful song, sing praises with the lyre, making melody with the trumpets and even the horn, all once again praising the Lord, as he will go on in verses 7 through 9 to say, as we've seen in past chapters, he's not simply calling his people to rejoice and give thanks for the things that he has done. He is talking about the ways in which even the sea will roar and all that is in it, the world and all that is in it. The rivers will clap, the hills will sing before the Lord, for he comes to judge the world with righteousness, once again, like we saw in the last chapter, and the peoples with equity, reminding me of the theme we saw back in the chapters we called or described as the mullet, meaning there was business on the front end of the chapters, which introduced a party in the back, referring to the haircut. The mullet described as business in the front and party in the back. We realize that in those chapters, not everybody partied at the same time. Just as in the days of his mercy, there were those who found joy in benefiting from the suffering of others. On the day in which he brings them relief, it's not going to be a happy day for everyone. Reminding me of the term trauma bonding, which the Cleveland Clinic describes this way. Trauma bonding is when a person who is or has been abused feels a connection to their abuser. It will go on to say the cycle of abuse can create a false sense of safety during the reconciliation and calm phase. This is why a person being abused will cling on to those moments of peace, even when they go away. The cycle is often what elicits the feelings of attachment, and the feelings similar to a bond happen toward the abuser or perpetrator. In that situation, a situation in which a person who is being abused can be lured back into an affection for their abuser, it actually reminded me of the ways in which an abusive and cold world can lure us back into a relationship where it actually defines our character. See, we can cling to the seasons of peace so much that we will accept peace on the terms of those who are actually abusing us. And if we're not careful, over time, we can actually be conformed into the image of those who God has promised to provide us relief from, which is one of the reasons Paul might write in Romans chapter 12, verse 2, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. Understanding that a person lured back into a harmful relationship through a trauma bond may be lured back into a situation where they are the only one being harmed. For us, however, as believers, when we are lured into a trauma bond with the world over time, what is happening is we are actually being made an accomplice to the harm that it is doing to others, which is why the word calls us to be transformed into the image of something that does not add to the suffering of an abusive world, and understanding how difficult it can be to overcome the temptation to simply give in for a moment of peace. He has called us to collectively come together with others who are seeking the strength to overcome the temptation or the desire to simply be conformed into the image of whatever will get us a moment of peace. And that is what some might describe as the church, or at least, God willing, what it's supposed to be. A group of people coming together under Christ's counsel to help us overcome the temptation to trade in genuine peace for temporary fragments of peace.